Welcome back everybody to 19 something video. So yesterday I released a quick part 1 of a VHS haul that I found at a local thrift store. Today is a sequel to that, part 2 of that same VHS haul, and we'll kind of go through these movies once again. So I wanted to start this video out with this little box that I found at the thrift store. So this thing was buried behind like jewelry and more expensive stuff that they sell at the thrift store in their display case. But I seen this little Batman trading card box. So you can see the Batmobile there, and on the cover it's Batman and Robin, of course, running around Gotham City. So I didn't know what it was, only $6, so I was like, I'm gonna pick it up. So I came home, ripped apart the tape. The box is falling apart. I'm sure it's from early 90s or mid 90s, something like that. But inside, still in these little baggies here, are a bunch of little Batman trading cards. So mostly they're the cartoon characters, and each individual card is just another character explaining, you know, little facts about them. But some of them here are still kind of wrapped in this little neat little plastic here. Here we go with the Joker, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, and there's just a ton more in here. I'm not gonna go through it all or dive too much more into it, but kind of a cool find, and it fits kind of perfectly into 19 something video. So there we go. Batman and Robin trading cards. I don't know much more about them. I need to research more when they came out, if they have any value at all besides nostalgic ones. So there you go, pretty neat. So let's start the movie, shall we? So I'm gonna start with another favorite of mine from when I was a kid. What a masterpiece, and that is The Lion King. Everyone knows The Lion King. There we go, right there. So the tape itself looks like it's in good condition. The clamshell here is a little, you know, dusty and beat up, but really great movie. Everyone knows that beginning scene where the Circle of Life music just comes on, and all of these animals gather around Pride Rock as they lift Simba high up into the air as their future king. You can't deny it. It's a chill-worthy moment. It's such a chill-worthy moment that, believe it or not, in Walt Disney movie history, of all their cartoons, Lion King, when its trailer was running for the film, it was the only Disney movie that showed an entire scene in a trailer. So they kind of spoiled the entire epic Circle of Life moment in its trailer. So that kind of goes down in a little Lion King history. Originally this movie was supposed to be called King of the Jungle, and they kind of based it on human life of in a symbolic way, like me and you, we're all symbols, and the wild world out there is equivalent to a jungle. Like, it's a jungle out there. So kind of cool fact, and that's The Lion King. Of course it would spawn sequels. Here we go with Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Now this film came out in 1998. By that time I was kind of bored of Disney movies or cartoons like that. So I think, you know, I started watching scary movies or wrestling at the time. But here we go with Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Don't really know much about it. I know I've watched it, but I'm sure it's a classic and just as good. But that's the Lion King movies that I found. Also, if you remember of Lion King, in 1994, a video game was based on the movie. The video game Lion King came out for, like, I don't know, Super Nintendo or Genesis. But to this day, it may be the hardest video game that I've ever played. I'm not sure if I ever beat any level on it, but that's The Lion King. Next one here, I love Quentin Tarantino. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. Every one of his movies, the story, the acting, the cinematography is so beautiful and so great. But what I really dig about Quentin Tarantino movies is the soundtrack. Oh my god, the music is always so good. I love him so much that I even have a Quentin Tarantino section just solely for him of all his movies. But Pulp Fiction here. Pulp Fiction. What a dynamite movie. It says this year's #1 movie, and I truly believe it. Pulp Fiction, it's responsible for kind of kickstarting John Travolta's career again. So he had like a little Law in Action, starred in Pulp Fiction, and his career kind of kickstarted again. So Pulp Fiction, what a wonderful movie. Travolta was actually nominated for Best Actor for Pulp Fiction. So pretty awesome. Also, Bruce Willis is kind of a different side of Bruce Willis. I love his kind of character arc in the movie. Super good, and everyone knows this movie's kind of got that weird non-linear storytelling where it's kind of broke apart, and at the end it kind of all comes together. So of course, if you had time, you could break it apart and kind of watch it with a prologue and the segments and an epilogue. But the way it was meant to be watched and how they released it is beautiful. So Pulp Fiction, love Quentin Tarantino. Here we go. Here's a classic for you. What is this? 1985. Yes. Here we have a special collector's series VHS released by Atlantic Releasing Company. I really don't know too much about them. I'll have to kind of look that up. But here we have Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf. Great movie, great classic. You know, Teen Wolf is basically about some high school kid who turns into a werewolf. So kind of similar to like 1956, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, which has such a great title. I really dig that title. But here's a funny, hilarious moment in Teen Wolf is towards the end of the movie. They're having this basketball game, and the stand is filled with people, extra actors that they hired, of course. But towards the end, one of those extras, a dude, he stands up in the bleacher, and he exposes himself in a naughty way. So I don't know if they just did not see that when they filmed this movie. And they also released this movie many times in different formats, VHS, Blu-ray, DVD, stuff like that. And I don't ever think they cut that scene. I think if you were to find this movie or stream it today, you could catch the extra, the dude at the end of the movie, stand up in the bleacher and show something we don't want to see. So kind of a weird fun fact about Teen Wolf, but a really good movie. Classic for sure. Here we go. These are this is like one of those movies, I don't know, you would find on TV or maybe rent at the video store because of its title or because of its artwork. But you know, it's not one of the greatest movies, and I think it's, out of all of the movies I've shown, this is the oldest. This did not come out in the 90s. This came out in 2002, I believe, and that's called Ghost Ship. Ghost Ship, and it still kind of has that video rental sticker here where it says "Buy me for $3.95." So the back calls it one of the scariest, most original horror movies in years. So I don't remember a lot about this movie, but I do remember the beginning scene, which I think it goes down in film history as one of the most goriest and bloodiest opening to a film that I know I've personally ever watched. And what happens is, sorry for the spoilers, there's a group of people just jamming and partying and laughing on a deck of a ship, right? And all of a sudden this cable snaps. This cable comes and it just rips in half everybody who's standing up. Yeah, it cuts right through all these people. Super gory, bloody. You know, if you're into that kind of bloody, gory stuff, then you may dig this movie, Ghost Ship. But yeah, that opening scene, wow. I guess it really draws in people to continue watching it. It says strong violence and gore, yeah. So Ghost Ship, maybe check it out. Here we go, a classic. Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi in a 1980 MCA Universal releasing of The Blues Brothers. So I saw that there, knew I had to have it in the collection. So there we go, The Blues Brothers. All right, now here's another Disney classic. If you know me, you know I love hockey, so of course I had to pick this movie up. And what we have here is The Mighty Ducks 2 D2. So that is pretty cool. It is a classic for sure. Little fun fact, it doesn't have to do with this movie, but it has to do with the first one, The Mighty Ducks. So in the movie, Coach Bombay takes the entire team to a real NHL game. And that's between like Minnesota North Stars and the Whalers, right? And so they filmed the movie a couple years later. Both of those teams, Minnesota and the Whalers, they they are relocated to new cities. So it's like, I don't know, is it like a little Mighty Ducks curse or something? So Minnesota North Stars would eventually move from Minnesota to Dallas to become the Dallas Stars. And the Whalers, Hartford Whalers, would eventually move to North Carolina to become the Hurricanes. So, you know, the Mighty Ducks go there, and both teams end up moving to new cities a couple years later. Kind of weird, kind of a fun fact there about Mighty Ducks. So I picked up these three here. It's the original trilogy, excuse me, of Jurassic Park. So you got Jurassic Park 1. There you go. Everyone knows that classic. Here we have Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. Cool. It says something has survived. And here we go with Jurassic Park 3. Beautiful. So, you know, that was cool to find the original trilogy. I know that they've spawned more sequels and, you know, kind of updated it with Jurassic World. So, there you go, Jurassic Park. I've read the books in school. You know, I really enjoyed those, the first one, and I believe I read Lost World as well. A cool fact about the original film Jurassic Park was Steven Spielberg and the author of the books were kind of hanging out one day, right? And Spielberg asked him about his next novel, his next story. And so the author explains to him about a story, an idea he's coming up with called Jurassic Park. So Spielberg loved it so much that he called up Universal and he said, let's buy the rights to this story before it's even put on paper, in preparation to make it into a film. So he just dug the story so much, and the rest is history. Jurassic Park. All right. Here we go with an interesting film, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Saw it on the shelf there, and I couldn't pass it up. I had to get it. So, cool cover there, with a little like holographic lettering there. Pretty sweet. Fact about this movie: originally Mick Jagger was super interested and kind of applied for the role of Frankenfurter. Of course, we all know that didn't happen, and the wonderful and talented Tim Curry was able to take that role. So, really cool. Here we go. Another classic, of course, is Rocky. You know, there's a lot of sequels, but nothing touches the first one. This won Best Picture in 1976. It goes down as a classic. I had to have it. Here we go with Predator 2. Predator 2. I need to find the first one. But pretty cool. I really dig the cover art. You got this city kind of blanketed with this red and purple clouds. So I really like that cover. Predator 2. Now here's our last of the day. Kind of an interesting film. This is called Frankenstein Unbound. So I believe this movie came out in like 1990, before I was even born. It's one of those movies you would see at a video rental store. Not sure what it's about at all. Just look at the cover, kind of read the back, and pick it up for the weekend. So I don't really know a lot about this movie, but I just know, you know, it's kind of that corny 90s horror. I dig the monster witch thing on the back. That is cool. The story is, you know, kind of generic, but kind of interesting, about a scientist in the future who, I don't know, does some kind of experiment. It doesn't go the way he planned, and somehow it throws the scientist back in time. And so you kind of got this little Inception weird stuff where he meets a fellow scientist named Victor Frankenstein, who of course would go on to create the monster Frankenstein. And he also meets a lady by the name of Mary Shelley in the movie. So he meets Mary Shelley, who of course would go on to write the classic novel Frankenstein. So they kind of mixed it with like, you know, fake characters meeting non-fictional real life characters. So kind of an Inception weird deal. Cool movie, I guess. I'll have to kind of rewatch it and let you know more about it, I guess. So Frankenstein Unbound. Super corny 90s horror movie. I dig that. And that's from a CBS Fox release. So pretty sweet. So that's what we have today for part 2 of the VHS haul. I do still have another stack of movies, so it looks like we're gonna have a trilogy here with part 3 hopefully coming soon. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you remember some of these films, and maybe you have like your own memories of checking them out at a video rental store or spending a weekend with them. So what's some of your favorites? You know, what's some that you really like or miss or kind of want to watch again, or did you watch any of these and didn't like them at all? Let me know. But I hope you had a good day, and remember to rewind.